appears ordinary till you see the core side of it.
And what you're looking for is the story behind the news.
We bring it to you from Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria.
Giving you all sides and political stories round the clock.
Every detail from the start line to the final whistle.
CoreTV News, expanding your view.
Hello and welcome to CoreTV Primetime News. I am Nifemi Oguntoye in our major story. Again, APC PDP councillors fight at the venue of inspection of ballot materials used for the August 9 Osun governorship election. Also with this program, President Goodluck Jonathan orders immediate removal of banners and posters being used by some of his supporters to drum up support for his second-term lead. And retired soldiers protest non-payment of their pension arrears in Abuja. Outside Nigeria, United States vow to assist Iraq defeat Islamic State militants. Councillors at the ongoing inspection of the ballot materials used for the August 9 governorship election engaged in fisticuffs at the venue of the exercise. This followed disagreement on recording of the proceedings. The two lawyers literally threw caution to the wind. Rashid.
You cannot do anything. You can only arrest. Can never. So we need arrest. No, then you are. Get out!
The fight was, however, put under control as INEC was able to call the two warring parties to order.
I'm telling you sincerely, I did not see two lawyers fighting. We argue, that's our business. So I didn't see any fighting of about 10 scanners. And we are moving faster. Our colleague, I think they have only 2 scanners. And by the time 10 scanners are finished, you can understand that 2 scanners will not even be 1/3 or 1/5 of what they have done. And the idea is that they wanted us to wait until the 2 scanners finished, for instance, 1 unit.
Came with a cameraman, and the cameraman was on his duty, and suddenly the other party now said they didn't want the cameraman to cover them. So we made them to realize that the camera and scanning, they are the same thing.
We have come back to see ourselves as lawyers and to agree to make the work to be very fast. That's all.
The Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) says it would establish additional 30,000 polling units across the country. This, according to INEC Chairman Atahiru Jega, will push up the number of polling units in the country to 150,000. He explained at a news conference in Abuja that the proposed polling units will give registered voters the opportunity to cast their votes close to where they live. Paul Samuel completes the report.
In preparation for the 2015 general election, INEC say more polling units will be required. To achieve this, the Commission has proposed to increase existing units from 119,973 to 150,000 across the country. Commission Chairman says the proposed units will help ease the stress voters go through during elections.
About 150,000 polling units are required to ensure right sizing of our polling units based on the number of registered voters. There is no gainsaying the fact that there have been demographic shifts across the country since 1996, when the current structure was established.
INEC chairman is worried over the methods to be used in creating the new polling units, but he said the commission will take into consideration remote areas and difficult terrains.
From 1996 to date, there has been an exponential growth in Nigeria's population, and there have been severe demographic shifts resulting from new settlements in major urban centers. For example, the estimated population of the country was about 110 million in 1996, when the polling units were created. In 2006, after the national population census, the population of Nigeria was 140 million.
Only recently, there were suggestions in some quarters that the commission was favoring some parts of the country over others. But the chairman insists that the new unit will not confer any political advantage on a state or region.
The use of voting points has continued to elicit suspicion by political parties in the run-up to elections, with some even accusing the commission of secretly creating additional polling units, while some parties are even demanding that they be allowed to have polling agents at every polling unit. It is clear that to ensure the 2015 general elections are conducted under a more orderly and conducive atmosphere, thereby creating an environment for free and fair elections and consolidating the gains of the 2011 general elections, additional polling units must be created as described above.
He also assured Nigerians that INEC, under his watch, will remain non-partisan before, during, and after the 2015 general elections. Pius Samuel, CoreTV News, Abuja.
President Goodluck Jonathan has ordered the immediate removal of Bring Back Jonathan banners and posters being used by some of his supporters to drum up support for his yet undeclared second-term bid. The directive contained in a statement by the presidential spokesman, Reuben Abati, followed the local and international condemnation of the campaign slogan. Abati argued that the slogan, which critics describe as a parody on the Bring Back Our Girls campaign, was used without President Jonathan's consent. Governor Olusegun Mimiko maintained that he would back President Goodluck Jonathan for a second term whenever he declares his intention. He made this known during a brief chat with journalists after the party's National Executive Council meeting in Abuja. We'll bring you details of that report later on. Labour Party has denied that Ondo State Governor Olusegun Mimiko is stamping it for the People's Democratic Party. Outgoing party chairman Dan Nwayawu told journalists after the National Executive Council meeting in Abuja that the governor remains committed to the party ideas. He also disclosed that a new national executive will emerge in October, but insists that he won't be standing for re-election.
At least you have seen Governor Olusegun Mimiko in the National Executive Council meeting of the party. As I'm talking to you, Governor Mimiko is still a bona fide member of the Labour Party. And that is why he's here. So all other rumors you are hearing, we don't have to base our contributions on speculation. And you should not anticipate somebody. So he is here as a NEC member. We have discussed everything concerning our party, and you can see that he's sitting here live and direct.
Retired military personnel on Wednesday staged a peaceful protest in Abuja to demand payment of their pension arrears. The ex-servicemen also vowed to disrupt the 2015 elections if the status quo remains. They, however, got assurance from the Minister of State for Defense, Musiliu Obanikoro, that the matter would be resolved soon. Nigeria discharges last Ebola patient in Lagos. Find out more on these and other stories after this time out. Don't go away.
There is an Ebola virus epidemic in some West African countries. The Nigerian government wants you to be aware and watch out against the spread of Ebola in your community. Help keep our country safe and watch out for severe cases of fever, headaches, diarrhea, chest and abdominal pain, sore throat, cough, red eyes and bleeding from the eyes, ears and nose, especially when these symptoms are found in persons coming into Nigeria from other West African countries. Protect yourself. Wash your hands regularly with soap and running water or use a hand sanitizer. Avoid contact with the blood, urine, feces or saliva of animals like bats, monkeys, gorillas, chimpanzees or infected persons. The Ebola virus is deadly. Don't catch it. Don't spread it. This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information.
This is Judiciary Today.
The judiciary's function is to interpret the law.
The judge in Lagos State is perhaps one of the most comfortable judges in the world.
You don't say because we are fighting terrorists or fighting terror, then you go about violating people's rights. We're not going to allow that in this country.
So I think that's one of the reasons why some
that's
lawyers
what lawyers do.
I didn't say that what lawyers do.
The TV show that brings you in-depth review and analysis of judiciary issues that affect you.
All police officers to welcome victims with empathy and not say, what were you wearing? Where did you go? What were you doing at 10 p.m. at night?
Ask the Nigeria Judiciary months one of their own.
He has gone to court on behalf of Nigerian citizens even without taking a cover.
It is time for lawyers to take their health very seriously, lawyers and judges.
Only on CoreTV News. Welcome back. You're watching CoreTV Primetime News. Back to our earlier report. Retired military personnel on Wednesday staged a peaceful protest in Abuja to demand payment of their pension arrears. The ex-servicemen also vowed to disrupt the 2015 elections if the status quo remains. They, however, got assurance from the Minister of State for Defense, Musiliu Obanikoro, that the matter would be resolved soon. Now the report.
These are ex-servicemen who have served Nigeria at different levels. But years after retiring from active service, they are now demanding for what they describe as their rights. They are determined to get what rightfully belongs to them and have decided to hold a peaceful protest, the third this year. These men are keen to go all the way to press home their demand. With banners bearing different inscriptions, they are asking why they have not received the over 60 billion naira approved for their pension arrears.
The president has set it to it, made a public pronouncement that is going to be paid as far back as 2010 July. We have made presentations at National Assembly, sending delegations.
Every avenue has been exploited to see that we realize this. We only get promises to be attended to. Up to today, nothing done. We've not been paid the review, the pension right review of 2009, which was to take effect from 2010. We haven't been paid. There are the radical groups that really feel this nation never listens until we carry arms. And once we carry arms, it proliferates. You never know it's going to be a victim. It's on that basis we keep on sticking to peaceful protests, and we're not going to get tired.
They are not just pensioners in Abuja alone. Many of them are from other states of the Federation. This man is from Ibadan. He has threatened to mobilize his fellow retirees to force governments to pay their benefits.
Make sure you get this message down to the core. Let the government know. We said that we are ready for them. Not in 2015, we will battle ready for them. If they didn't pay all that money, we mean it. If the president can kill everybody in Nigeria, let him do so. If he has the power to do so. But we are saying we need our money now. If he doesn't do it, if he closes his ear, it's left to him. But mark you, when you close your eyes, don't want to see your enemy, by the time good one will pass, you don't see them.
However, government has again reassured these patriots that it will look into their grievances.
Let me say that their grievances are receiving attention, and you can see that we stood there trying to understand them, and also have responded responsibly. And that is why we have seen them, they are calm, and they are talking to each other. If we have not responded responsibly, we won't see the kind of interface that just took place between us and them. We are working on it, and it will be sorted. This is a democracy. It's normal to have issues, and it is responsible. It is being responsible, attending to them.
For now, the ex-soldiers have agreed to give the authorities 1 month to fulfill the promise made, but say they will return to the streets if the results are unfavorable.
Ex-servicemen speaking tough there. Well, it's cheering news as Nigeria's health authorities said there is no single current Ebola case in the country. This, according to Health Minister Oyebuchi Chukwu, follows the discharge of the last patient under treatment at the isolation ward in Lagos. The minister, however, says in a statement issued by spokesman Dan Nwome that a suspected case from Ife in Osun State is still under investigation. He added that the student of Obafemi Awolowo University has been quarantined after she was found to have made contact with the late Port Harcourt doctor at a function before his death. As part of efforts to contain the spread of the dreaded Ebola virus disease, the China Civil Engineering Construction Corporation and Lagos Metropolitan Area Transport Authority kicked off a sensitization campaign for the people of Majudu in the Ikorodu area of Lagos. Anita Fatunji was there and found in this report.
The awareness campaign was aimed at enlightening the people of the community on how to identify carriers of the virus, how to avoid contracting the disease, and what to do in case of suspicion. The Deputy Director, Lagos Ministry of Health, Omaomi George, emphasized the need for people to be careful with their lifestyle.
It's just a way to ensure that people don't stigmatize. I think it's just one of the measures, but that doesn't mean that is the only thing we are going to be doing. We will keep on giving messages. We will keep on letting people know that yes, this is what we want or this is what we should be doing. But that is an extreme case, and we could get there if people. But I don't think we will get there. I think by the time you give people a message, they will respond. So there is no fear. We shouldn't fear that the government has said we will start to prosecute. I think people also will see with time, with the message, they will see the need to actually ensure that they don't, ostracize those people who already have the disease.
Member of the Lagos State House of Assembly, Senai Agumbiade, advised the community to abide by the rules and regulations laid down by the state government in order to maintain a healthy society.
What is happening here is happening everywhere in the state by corporate bodies, by the government, by elected people, because the House of Assembly, Lagos State, actually mandated all its members to make sure that they raise the consciousness in their various constituencies. I've done in my constituency, some of the members have done it, some local government have done it, CCEC and Lamata, doing it today. The government of Lagos State is creating the awareness in media and the rest of it. So I think people are really becoming enlightened about the danger of Ebola.
However, the Lagos manager, Lagos Metropolitan Area Transport Authority, represented by Kayode Taiwo, stated the importance of the awareness campaign.
What we're trying to do here is to sensitize the community along the corridor of Mile 12 to Ikorodu, where we are having the BLT expansion project to sensitize them against the Ebola virus disease, to train them as it were, or teach them what to do and what not to.
The Baale of Owutu, Joseph Aluko, refused to be outdone.
People like the campaign, though we come to the CCC's compound, but I feel if this thing could be taken to the community, to the community right away, it will be better. People feel this place is not conducive for them because it's too far to their community.
The gathering hails the campaign and recommends it for the benefit of other communities in the area. Anita Fatunji, CoreTV News, Lagos.
Enduring development will continue to be a mirage without any meaningful borrowing. Lagos State Governor Babatunde Fashola made this known after inspecting ongoing light rail project in the Gomo area of the state. Abiola Oluwole was there. His report is presented from our studios.
The Debt Management Office recently published the debt profile of state in the country, placing Lagos as a state with the highest borrowings in Nigeria. Speaking to journalists after the inspection of the Lagos Light Rail project in Igamo, Fashola says the borrowings are approved by the federal government.
The first bond that was taken during my tenure has been paid, the first tranche. I think the next one will fall due around 2016 or 2017. We are already making provision. The provision that will be there will be in excess of what will be needed to pay it. I've been to the House of Reps to say that we have a loan application with the World Bank for $600 million. We are the only sub-national, right, in Africa that has benefited from such a facility. Only Lagos.
He stated that the loans are used to power ongoing infrastructure developments in different parts of the state.
Where is the money going? This is where the money is going. So if the people of Lagos want rail, if they want to see a 10-lane highway on Badagry Expressway, if they want the work we're doing in Mile 12 into Ikorodu expansion to continue, if they want to see all of the developmental work that will add value to their life, that's the only way to finance it.
The visit is part of effort at evaluating the pace of work on the light rail project.
Meanwhile, Lagos State Governor Babatunde Fashola has paid a condolence visit to the family of late Vice Chairman of the Sunday newspapers, Dimba Igwe. In the condolence register, Fashola described the late Igwe as a friend and brother whom he finds difficult to explain the separation. Igwe died after fatal injuries sustained from an accident caused by a hit-and-run vehicle in the course of early morning jogging exercise last Saturday in Lagos. The city of Osogbo in Osun State played host to eminent personalities across the country who gathered for the burial of the late chief imam of Osogbo, Mustapha Ajishafe, who in his lifetime doubled as the president, League of Imams and Alfas in Southwest, Edo and Delta states. He was described as a national icon by many at the occasion. Rashid was there and felt in this report.
Since the announcement of the demise of Mustapha Ajishafe late Mandi, the Islamic League in Nigeria has lamented the loss of one of their best. The burial rite was done in accordance with Islamic injunction and a sign of last respect to the deceased. Son of the late Imam, Tajuddin Arikalamu describes his father as a man of all people.
Papa tried his best in teaching Islam to every body in Osogbo, in Osun, in Nigeria, even abroad.
Ajishafe became the Imam of Osogbo in 1997 and was made the president of League of Imams and Alfas in August 2007 after the death of his predecessor, Qasim Yahya Korede. Other imams speak on his leadership style.
As the President General for the League of Imams and Alfas in Yoruba land, including Edo and Delta State, we lead the Muslim Ummah with the fear of Almighty Allah. He did all what he can do when he was alive. We thank Almighty Allah that people gathering here today from different areas to reciprocate what this man has done when he was alive.
While prayers were on at the Osogbo City Stadium, his remains were later moved to his house for internet. As Islamic League in Nigeria mourns one of their own, the legacy left by Al-Hajj Mustafa Ajishafe of national unity, national cohesion, and religious tolerance is best to be imbibed by all and sundry Muslims and non-Muslims alike at this situation where we find ourselves in our national cause. Rashid, CoreTV News, Osogbo.
You're watching CoreTV Primetime News live from Lagos. We're taking another break and return with business news with Sabena Izoko. Stay with us.
There is an Ebola virus epidemic in some West African countries. The Nigerian government wants you to be aware and watch out against the spread of Ebola in your community. Help keep our country safe and watch out for severe cases of fever, headaches, diarrhea, chest and abdominal pain, sore throat, cough, red eyes, and bleeding from the eyes, ears, and nose, especially when these symptoms are found in persons coming into Nigeria from other West African countries. Protect yourself. Wash your hands regularly with soap and running water, or use a hand sanitizer. Avoid contact with the blood, urine, feces, or saliva of animals like bats, monkeys, gorillas, chimpanzees, or infected persons. The Ebola virus is deadly. Don't catch it. Don't spread it. This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information.
From time immemorial, women have birthed life, shaped character, and by extension, influenced the society. Moremi of Ife, Emoten of Benin, Queen Aminat of Zaria, all women of influence and power.
Whether it's before election, after election.
How ironical. Women being so powerful, yet have few grounds in decision making.
They see you as weak, and I see you as a wife to a man.
We are talking women in politics.
A woman will be bold enough to stand up and say, I want to become president of Nigeria.
Only on CoreTV News.
Welcome to Business News with me, Sabena Izoku. Director General of the Bureau of Public Enterprise, Benjamin Dickey, has disclosed the decision of the federal government to reform the housing sector using standard regulations. Dickey, who spoke at an interactive meeting with the Umbrella Union of Workers of the Federal Housing Authority, the Senior Staff Association of Communication, Transport and Cooperation, and affiliates of the Trade Union Congress in Abuja, says the objective of the reforms of the housing sector in Nigeria is to ensure the sector becomes vibrant, utilizing local content, and facilitate private sector investments. Dickey noted that reforms would introduce regulation in the housing sector to ensure standards, as is presently obtained in the telecommunication, electric power, and other key sectors of the economy. He assured the workers that their interests will be protected in the course of reforms, as the government places high premium on workers' welfare during reforms and privatization exercises. Dickey noted the government will and must always take cognizance of labor issues, hence the inclusion of labor leaders in the membership of the sector. The federal government at the Federal Executive Council meeting Wednesday approved 13 billion naira for the establishment of 10 rice mills and 6 cassava mills across the country. The Minister of Agriculture, Akiwumi Adesina, disclosed this to the State House correspondents after the meeting. He says 10 rice mills with total capacity to mill 360,000 metric tons of rice were to be located in Kebbi, Zamfara, Kaduna, Niger, Benue, Kogi, Bayelsa, Bauchi, Ogun, and Nasarawa State. He added that the 6 cassava mills were to have total capacity of 180,000 metric tons and to be located in Ondo, Ogun, Abia, Delta, Cross Rivers, and Nasarawa States. According to Additional, the rice mills will not be owned or run by government. They are going to be owned, managed, and operated by the private sector as part of government's way of making this available at a term of financing that can be afforded by the private sector. The acquisition of this will be done by the Bank of Industry. For his part, the Minister of Information, Labaru Maku, who joined his agricultural counterpart to address the journalists, says 16 rice and cassava mills will be completed within 18 months. The Debt Management Office today says It plans to sell 100 billion naira worth of bonds at the auction next Wednesday, with maturities ranging from 3 to 20 years. It will auction 15 billion naira in the 3-year bond, 15 billion naira in the 10-year paper, and 35 billion naira in 20-year debt note using the Dutch auction system. The bonds are reopenings of previously issued debt notes. The result of the auction will be released the following day. The debt offer says successful bidders will pay a price corresponding to the yields to maturity bids that clear the volume being auctioned, plus any accrued interest on the instrument. Apple has unveiled a wearable smartwatch, its first new product line since the first iPad and the death of its co-founder Steve Jobs. The device acts as a health and fitness tracker and communicates with the iPhone. According to the research firm IDC, the Apple smartphone shipments slipped from 13% to 11.7% between the second quarter of 2013 and 2014, while Android's share grew. Apple's new device has a touchscreen display that can detect the difference between a light tap and a heavier pressure from the user's fingers. It offers a variety of different watch faces and can alert the user to notifications, acts as a heart rate monitor, and shows maps. It will cost $349 and will not be available until early 2015. Apple also unveils 2 new handsets that are larger than previous models. The iPhone 6 screen measures 4.7 inches and the iPhone 6 Plus's 5.5 inches. This will be available by the 19th of September 2014. And on the stock market report, equity transaction on the floor of the Nigerian Stock Exchange ended on a slightly positive note today. The Nigerian Stock Exchange All Shares Index appreciated by 0.04% to close at 40,885.40 basis points. Market capitalization increased and closes at 13.50 trillion naira. In all, a total of 386.5 billion shares, valued at 3.78 billion naira, were exchanged in 5,193 deals. Report shows that Mobil Oil topped the gainers chart, followed by Total PLC, Access Bank, Premium Breweries, and Carventon. On the other hand, 40 Oil topped the losers chart, followed by GlaxoSmithKline PLC, National Salt Company of Nigeria, Cement Company of Nigeria, and Morrison. Meanwhile, here are the top 5 trades. And that's it on business news. Nifemi Ogunteye will be back with the rest of the news. Please stay with us.
There is an Ebola virus epidemic in some West African countries. The Nigerian government wants you to be aware and watch out against the spread of Ebola in your community. Help keep our country safe and watch out for severe cases of fever, headaches, diarrhea, chest and abdominal pain, sore throat, cough, red eyes, and bleeding from the eyes, ears, and nose, especially when these symptoms are found in persons coming into Nigeria from other West African countries. Protect yourself. Wash your hands regularly with soap and running water, or use a hand sanitizer. Avoid contact with the blood, urine, feces, or saliva of animals like bats, monkeys, gorillas, chimpanzees, or infected persons. The Ebola virus is deadly. Don't catch it. Don't spread it. This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information.
CoreTV News, expanding your view.
Our style, that's what he delivered. Usain Bolt storming through, he takes
On sports tonight, Nigeria Super Eagles today held the Bafana of South Africa to a goalless draw in their second game of the 2015 African Cup of Nations qualifier. South African defense denied Nigeria the chance to grab all 3 points with their clinical defense work. Now, the result means Nigeria sits third on the log with 1 point after Congo beat Sudan 2-0 in the other fixture to top Group A with 6 points, and South Africa second with 4 points. The Court of Arbitration for Sport has rejected the request for provisional measures restraining FIFA from suspending Nigeria from internationally organized football events. Now, the court stated on its official website that the case of the appellants was rejected because it was without object at this stage. The appellant's request was arbitration is still expected before the World Football Governing Body FIFA warned that it will immediately suspend NFF should the electoral process be affected by any interference or mishap to FIFA's next Congress in May 2015. The Nigeria Referees Association has ended the withdrawal of its men from league matches in the country that lasted for 2 weeks. The referees body, in a letter to the NFF on Wednesday, stated that referees are now ready to officiate all matches organized by the Nigeria Football Federation (NFF) with immediate effect. The league management company had also announced through its Twitter account that the Nigeria Professional Football League (NPFL) will resume on September 17. The Nigerian top flight is expected to resume with match day 26 games after 2 weeks of no activity after referees withdrew from the services, citing the governance crisis rocking the NFF. And now to NBA. Great Britain and Miami Heat star Liu Deng says he's proud of his African heritage after alleged racist remarks were made about the South Sudan roots. Atlanta Hawks manager Danny Ferry said 29-year-old Deng has a little African in him, among other remarks. Ferry said the words did not reflect his views and claims he was repeating from scouting reports, but he will be disciplined by the Hawks. Deng was born in what is now South Sudan, though his family escaped civil war by going to Egypt before being granted political asylum in Great Britain when he was 5 years old. And to Formula One, Ferrari's Luca Di Montezemolo is to step down as longtime chairman of the Formula One team. His departure follows a poor season on the track and disagreements with Sergio Marchionne, chief executive officer of parent company Fiat. Ferrari have not won a drivers' or constructors' title since 2008, are in the midst of the least competitive season for 20 years. The team had their worst result of the year at the Grand Prix on Sunday when Alonso retired with a hybrid system failure and teammate Kimi Raikkonen finished 9th. And outside Nigeria, U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry has reassured Iraq's new leader that there will be an international strategy to defeat Islamic State militants. Kerry, on the Middle East tour, says U.S. President Barack Obama would outline the strategy later. He praised Prime Minister Hadi al-Abadi's plan to devolve powers to Iraq's minorities and reform the military. Militants overran the army in many parts of northern Iraq and gained backing from some disaffected Sunnis. Meanwhile, at least 9 people died in a series of car bombs in East Baghdad. The explosions happened minutes apart in the Shia neighborhood of New Baghdad. At least 25 others were injured. Kerry made an unannounced visit to the Iraqi capital Baghdad at the start of a tour of eastern capitals aimed at boosting military, political and financial support for the fight against the Islamic militants. Prime Minister David Cameron says he would be heartbroken if Scotland voted for independence. The leaders of the main UK parties has made a plea for a vote against Scottish independence as they campaigned north of the border ahead of the referendum. Scots First Minister Alex Salmond says his opponents could not be trusted. Cameron and Miliband abandoned their usual Prime Minister's question session at Westminster to head north, and although the 3 leaders campaigned separately, they each called on votes to keep Scotland in the United Kingdom. The 3 leaders have backed a plan of action spearheaded by former Prime Minister Gordon Brown, which they have said would see work begin on the handover of new powers on 19 September, the day after referendum. And that's been the show tonight. On behalf of the entire news team, I am Nifemi Oguntoye, wishing you a pleasant night rest. Thanks for watching.